I used to like to swim. Love to play baseball as a kid, but never thought about major leagues or anything like that. So, to be honest with you, I don't know if I would even want to be here if I couldn't be an entertainer. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I just step off to myself, man, and kind of do like a prayer or whatever's going on right there. If I see something, or hopefully, hope the people make it home safe, that type of thing. I do it for each individual venue. Hope the people have a good time. But yeah, I step into a corner and just give thanks to where I'm at. I'll do that every day, but mostly at the shows, I do that a lot. Oh man, coming up, I grew up in the era of what, 3 or 5 TV channels maybe. We had the little, the knob break out on the TV. We had to put the pliers on it. I grew up in that era, so in that era, radio was big. So all the artists that I heard on radio, from the James Brown to Michael Jackson, all the way from Elvis to Sammy Davis Jr. Watching those old shows, like I'm not embarrassed to say, but it's funny. I used to watch Hee Haw. The Lawrence Welk shows. A lot of you may be over your head, but those shows were mostly a lot of Latin and white entertainers. So when you saw James Brown or Michael Jackson or Sammy Davis, it was a treat. So watching those people, man, and for whatever reason, it made me want to do it. Not necessarily be them. For whatever reason, people that coached me when I was young always told me to be myself, just be yourself. So I never wanted to be like they were. One RPM. Well, my son handles my personal booking and a lot of my business. So he came across One RPM. I had been getting the emails, and I've been independent, man. Out of 21 years, I was independent 20 of those years. So I pretty much ain't want to hear nothing. I pretty much thought what I got is it. I don't need you to do anything else. Once someone comes, I'll be prepared because I own my catalog. So, and when I said someone coming, I never thought of a new company being created. I always thought of, hey man, when Warner Brothers come, I'm gonna be ready. Hey man, P Diddy gonna hear this one day and he gonna go crazy over it. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna want to own my music. I'm gonna be the guy. Oh man, Cash Money gonna come through and they gonna say, wow, what is this? And we gone. So I never thought it would be a new company that specifically created themselves to be a top company. So after my son kept going back and forth with the emails, he brought it to my attention. Dad, I think we ought to look into this. Still skeptical. I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I got to go sit down with him face to face. So we went and sit down face to face. I was impressed by the conversation. I was impressed by the facility. I was impressed by the professionalism. I was impressed by the complete staff designated to do all the things I was doing myself for 20 years. So that sold me on the deal. And the numbers had to be right because I had been on that stage talking about, if I sign with somebody, it's going to have to be blah, 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 blah. So it had to be blah, 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 blah on paper. It didn't matter. It didn't really matter, but for me to go back and tell my Conrads and my my entertainer friends, I had to be able to say, hey, I signed for this or that. So they made it work, and here I am. It's still amazing to me, all the information that's out here, that a lot of people keep still going into these crazy contracts or signing something over they shouldn't have signed over. So that's still amazing to me. I always have conversation with those around me in my field. And then I realized once a company like RPM showed up to say, hey, whoever owned their music, come on, that all that conversation I had for 20 years didn't manifest because nobody steals. I got 2 or 3 people that owns their music. So it's like all that talking I was doing didn't do any good. So nowadays, if I'm not asked, like you asked, I would never even share it anymore because 20 years of it didn't do any good. So I'm more specific now to what I see. So I would say the information is there, guys. Seek it. You know the dialogue. Streaming. Okay, look up streaming. royalties, look up royalties, ownership, look up ownership. So the information is there more than it's ever been. When I started, there was no such thing as the internet. So you have the internet. So I would suggest to all my comrades and anybody who's in the field or getting in the field, the information is there, man, in such a way that you have no reason to do anything against your career. Everything should be positive.